Hey guys, today I'll be painting for you this beachscape in my loose watercolor style in a very simple Temu sketchbook. So if you like to paint along with me, keep watching the video. Before we get right into it, I just wanted to show you the couple of landscapes I've done in my entire painting career. All right, let me close this one not to distract you. Just a couple of beachscapes that I have tried. I have not painted a lot of these. I have not even really done too many tutorials, and it is kind of just me figuring out how to paint a landscape based on what I've learned with florals and what I've learned with watercolor in general. Sure, I've done a couple of landscape tutorials. I think Christy Rice has a couple that I've done, and I don't know, maybe an Ellen Creamy Trent one, but these are the couple of beach scenes I've done using my own photo reference, if I'm not wrong. And what I have learned is that to paint loose landscapes, the really important things are values, meaning the dark and light of your painting, and also movement, which I am very pleased with this one here because I've got these nice sort of wavy ripples and really these dark values there. And a couple of other compositional techniques, which is not to put the horizon dead center and to, I don't know, just keep things loose. So today I am going to be painting this beach image. This is a photograph of a beach that I took last November in the Cape Otway, is it? Oh no, or was it Black Rock? I think this is in Melbourne Beach, a Melbourne beach called Black Rock or Half Moon Bay. Anyway, using this as a reference, and I'm going to show you how I approach it. And I'm going to, so yeah, if you are my Patreon, you can download this image on the post. And what am I using for my paper? I'm going to just be using this Mo Yao sketchbook from Temu. This is not cotton paper, regular mixed media paper. This is the same sketchbook I used for, now where is it? For this one. And I thought the results was pretty good, and so I don't mind just using it again. I'm opening it up to this so that it's all landscape based, and yeah, let's start straight away using my regular paints. Gonna just water them down, and this is going to be so loose and so experimental. I hope this makes it to the video because you never know, I never know. Let's do this. All right, so first thing I want to do is just have an idea of what goes where. I never usually sketch my my floral paintings, but for landscape it's kind of useful a little bit to sketch. So I have a watercolor pencil here. This is, what color is it? I don't know, some kind of greenish gray. A watercolor pencil is good because it'll actually just swipe out away once you paint over it, and I'm not too bothered. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball my horizon, which you don't want it dead center. So just following my composition, the horizon is around here. And then I'm just gonna, you know, sketch out the, the shapes that I see. So there's this one big shape here, which is where the sea is. And then there's a little shape where the sand is. And then there's also like a little mountain range, cliffs over there. And that's pretty much it. That's all I want to sketch because I can just have a very gentle guide on where everything is what. So you see that very light pencil sketch. Okay, so now I'm just going to block out the colors, or rather the shapes that are here in my painting. And it doesn't matter what brush to use. I'm just going to be using like a bigger square brush. Where is my, here, just a size 1 inch flat, so that I can just block out the different colors that I see. I've got my sand down here, some grass, the mountain. So let's start with the ocean. All right, so, okay, my palette is a little bit dirty, so to get ocean color, I will need to get some blues, and I have no space left for blues because I got a lot of green there. But it's okay to leave a little bit of green, which I'm doing that because I don't want my blue to be totally blue as well. You know, I want to add some green. So I've got a bit of Prussian blue there. See how that goes. Mix it up into my green side of my palette. And then I'm just going to lay that very light value oceany color. So with watercolor, you know you want to start with the light values and then go on to the dark. So just swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. And I see a little bit of like seaweedy thing happening in sort of this part. So I'm going to drop a little bit of a darker Prussian, actually indigo maybe, so it's not so bright. So you have a little bit of like some kind of a texture, seaweedness happening there. And then maybe a little bit of this green gold. Just going to drop that here and there as well, because I'm just using the inspiration image to suggest the colors that I want to drop into at this stage of the painting. And then just knowing that this is not cotton, so it's not going to be very, very smooth or anything, but I'm okay with that. All right, so there we go. And then I'm just going to put a little bit more of that sort of like wavy kind of marks, you know, because the ocean is made out of waves, right? And so you want to create that movement with the brush strokes here and there. Okay, so get a nice straight horizon going on. Next thing I want to block out is probably these dark mountains up there. So I've got shadow green, but if you don't have shadow green, you can just use green with a bit of indigo. So just get a darker green to just do that. All right, nothing too serious. And if this touches the ocean a little bit, that's fine. Okay. Then on this part, it's kind of more like a lighter grassy green. So I'm going to grab some of my yellow ochre and sap green. And then I'm just going to, again, maybe just block it out first with some color. Make it nice and rough. Couple of stones I see up front here, like rocks. So I grabbed some, I dipped my brush into a bit of queen gold, thinking it was burnt umber, then realized it's not burnt umber, and then I went to grab burnt umber, and therefore I have these very nice color, which is burnt umbery rock colors. And then a little bit here, all right. Okay, and then I want to bring in some texture already because there's a lot of some grassy kind of dried grass effect. So getting a smaller brush here and dipping into my burnt umber and maybe a bit of sepia and just doing that. Look, I am not an expert in the stages of what should come first, what should come next when it comes to landscapes. But this is what I'm doing now, and hopefully it translates to a very pretty painting later on. Okay, where are we now? So I've got this going on. It's becoming more brown than green, so let's drop in some more green instead of brown because my sand is going to be brown and I don't want it to be so brown that everything just becomes brown. So I'm just going to drop in some green here. Green / green gold, so sap green. Just going to put some texture. So you have, using my size 12 round to drop in some greens here and there. Look, if I had used cotton paper, it might look a bit different, but it is what it is now. This is just me roughing it nice and rough. Okay, my sand color. So I have yellow ochre, which is, I guess you would use that for sand, but I want to really water it down and not make it too too dark, okay? So that's good. So lots of water in my yellow ochre, and I'm just gonna go around and fill that up with this sand color. And you can go ahead and touch a little bit of the ocean. That's fine. Okay. And then there is a patch of sand that is like a bit darker because it is a bit wet. So there's that wet sand, dry sand thing. So I'm gonna grab burnt umber now. Mix that burnt umber up into the yellow ochre. You can mix it on the palette or you can mix it up on the... And I'm just gonna kind of like make like a layer of that wet sand. That is that gonna work? Blend it out a bit. Can you really kind of see that as wet sand? Maybe yes, maybe no. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be super perfect extraordinaire. All right, this is a lot of water that's pooling here. I'm just going to soak it up a bit just so that it doesn't end up very weird. Okay, now there are just some general rocks, rock pool rocks kind of thing. So I'm grabbing my sepia, and I'm just going to place these rocks around here and here because that's where they are. And then there's one right here. It's one where they are on my my reference. So there's some rocks going out to the ocean here. Ooh, I like that. I like that. I like that. I like that a lot. And then we just kind of start building. All right. So now we've got the base already, and I realize like here is pretty empty. So I'm just gonna fill that in with more sand, yellow ochre kind of thing, so that doesn't look very odd. And then there's actually stuff happening all the way to here, like maybe there's a jetty or pier or something. So I'm just gonna grab a little bit of that dark green. I'm just gonna stretch it out to here. All right, so while this is maybe still a bit wet, I can go in and put a little bit more darker green up here. So while everything is still wet, I think we can go in to maybe just accentuate the values a touch more. So I'm just going to drop in a little bit more saturated rock color, sepia here. Okay, and then maybe down here. And then there's a bit of a rock sticking out here as well. I haven't decided if I'm going to put in people yet, but I'm just going to let this all like emerge a little bit more. Also, the sand is kind of like a bit uneven, like it's got, I guess, marks where people are stepping and walking, and I think that would be quite interesting to show in the sand. But I'm deciding at this moment, shall I wait for it to be dry? Then we are going and do that, because everything might be a bit just all bleed into one another. Oops, see that? It's happening now. All right. Oh my gosh, forgot the sky. Literally left it out completely. All right, so I'm going to work in the sky now, and I have a cerulean blue, which is a really lovely color for Australian sky. So it's funny how skies are different in different countries. In Australia, our sky is this gorgeous, perfect sky blue, which is very much cerulean blue. So I'm going to just put that down and maybe get a little bit more at the top of the page and let it just bleed down a little bit with water. And as it touches the horizon, it just gets a little bit lighter. And I'm only doing this because it's kind of what I see. All right, do I want to touch the mountains? All right, I did touch a bit of the mountains. So as you can see, it's a bit of the mountain bleeding up, but that is fine. I don't mind it. Okay, it's perfect Aussie sky. There's some clouds in there, and one way that people do clouds is you get a little bit of tissue paper and you just kind of like swipe a bit of that blue away to get your wispy clouds. And I'm going to just do just that. Very nice. It's a beautiful day, beautiful sunny day with lots of just very gentle clouds here. Okay, so now it's the time to just stop and wait for this to dry, and it will come back and put the next layer on. And I'm actually quite excited and I'm very happy with where it's going now. So let's wait and come back. All right, we are back. It's been an hour or two and my painting is almost dry, almost 100% dry enough at least for me to put down on another layer. All right, so feeling a bit nervous about this, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be okay. A lot of you have asked me why don't I have more landscapes on my Patreon or my YouTube channel, and that is because I am not the most confident in this space. I haven't done it as much, and thus this nervousness, but I hope you can relate to it. And if I am willing to show up here as an art teacher and paint for you something that I'm not super duper comfortable with and still feel like I will get a decent painting, be inspired to share your paintings. I know some of you have said that you don't want to start an Instagram account yet, or you're not so confident in showing your work on even on my Facebook, my Patreon Facebook community. Do it. No one is going to say how bad your painting is or how, backward. We all have our own style. We all have our own energy, experience, background that goes into a painting. As long as you know the basicness of what we're meant to do, you're able to relax as you do it, it will come off pretty awesome. Trust me. All right, I'm going to mix up a dark mix of indigo and a bit of sepia here because I'm already dying to put in some dark values into my painting. I'm going to start with these mountainy areas. Looking at my image, I'm just seeing bits of darkness in those shadowy areas of these far hills. So I'm putting down those dark marks there. And then I'm also going to go in here with just the same dark and I'm just using my size 8 Silver Black Velvet. It is a tad fat. All right, I'm just gonna maybe change it up now and use the smaller one. So I've got my size 6 round. It's weird, the size 6 and size 8 is actually a huge difference. 8 is much larger, 6 is much smaller. 6 is actually closer to the 4. Anyway, I'm going to grab more sepia now, and I'm going to just lightly also start to outline or make marks of these rocks that I can see here on the foreground and in the water. Second layer of your painting is always about just creating more depth and dimension to whatever that you already have going, but without, too much noise. And with landscapes, and why I have been quite scared about landscapes is because, that what do you leave in and what do you take out, right? There's always that decision, and I'm pretty sure as I do this more and more, I will get more tuned in and skilled into what I want to leave out and what I want to put behind. But there's a lot of decisions to be made that can be quite intimidating and scary. One thing that I've been told is that things that are closer, obviously, are more can be bigger in scale, because you can imagine you're closer to this part. So all these like trees and rocks and leaves can be a little bit larger, and then the ones that are further away can be a little bit more, you know, just smaller. Okay, so all right, I'm pretty happy with so far all the little bits and bobs. I think I'm just gonna put a bit more here. So, you know, just like very different kind of like marks, rocks, leaves, grass, in no real kind of like way, just okay. All right, so with the water, I want to create some movement, so I'm gonna go back in here, and my picture is kind of like the waves are pretty straight, but I think I want to cheat a little bit and add a bit of like curvy movements. So just to follow, almost following the, so I'm using this dirty blue water that I have here, and I'm using the same brush to make thin strokes and then fat strokes along the whole sea. And perhaps as you get further away, it gets thinner and lighter. I don't know if I can achieve that. And as it's closer, the waves actually get a little bit, I'm going to use even this darker, because, you know, in my reference photo, there's like seaweedy stuff happening at the front of, closer to the beach. And I actually recall swimming in this beach. It's really, really nice little city beach. And you know, in Melbourne, we don't really have the most amazing beaches when you compare to other parts of Australia. But we take what we get, right? And beach season is also not very, very long. It is actually very short compared to other parts of Australia. But I think people in Europe can probably like identify a little bit more with this short, very short period. All right, so further away, I'm gonna actually put in more of a deeper blue as we get quite further away in the horizon. So Prussian, and I'm just going to intensify that blue. Now I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but I just want a little bit more excitement and stuff happening in the water rather than just it being flat. And then I'm going to grab some green gold as well, my azo green, because I'm seeing a bit of the yellowish green tones in the water, and I don't want to ignore that. I think that's really nice. Okay, now I'm going to just leave the water alone for a bit. I'm going to just work on a bit of the texture in the sand. So let me see. I'm going to swap to my, just a tiny little filbert brush, and grabbing the burnt umber and a little bit of brown. And I want to create, you know, those little sand marks, shadow sand marks, so a little bit darker, so sepia, more sepia. And this is the beach that has lots of people. It's a busy, quite a city beach. So you would see a lot of shadow marks of people just walking on it already, like this. Okay. Just here and there. Okay, so now going to also just intensify that watermark, you know, that wet sand mark. You know how we said I just wanted to just make it more differentiated. So I'm kind of drawing a line and then coloring it in, because then I will have that really clear wet sand mark. Not sure if that will work, but it's okay. It is what it is. It's done. Right, so pulling myself away and seeing what else I need. Okay, I'm so sorry, I'm just banging the table around here and there. I'm going to grab my indigo and I'm going to intensify this horizon line a little bit more. So remember, a good loose painting, a lot of it is a lot about values, and values meaning you really want to intensify the dark so that you are just playing on all the piano keys, right? If you follow this beautiful artist Sandy Hester, she talks about values being playing like the key of a keyboard, and you want to play the top and the bottom key and not just always in the middle. So that's what I'm trying to do with this sepia indigo thing. All right, just a bit more dark here and there. Intensify the dark. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the people in. People. Yes, I'm feeling the urge to put a person or two. So I have one figure here and one figure here. And I'm going to do it super loosely with grabbing just a small round brush. All right, this is not that small, it's a size 10. And I am going to just use, I'm going to use sepia, or like a dark brownish color for my person. So I'm going to start with just a guy, and just like, he's like sitting down, right? And then he's just sticking out his arms, his legs, and then he's got a hand here, and then he's wearing a hat, and then he's got a little towel, and then another lady here. Oh God, I don't know if it's gonna work out. She's got a little kid, and she's sitting on a little towel as well. Okay, all right, maybe the people is not working out, but it's okay. I'm gonna just keep going, not be too disheartened, and I'm just gonna draw a few more people further away here, and here, and here, and so it's like they're like tiny people on the beach far away. Okay, so you might not even know that they're people, but they're people. So everything's a bit wet now, so can't really see. Okay, and then I'll even have some people in the water. Some people in the water here. Give it a go. Give it a go. Don't be afraid. If it's not gonna look, now the people just looks like sand and rocks. It's okay. Let's just get rid of the people. Getting rid of the people in my foreground. Instead, I have a few people in my far away there. Okay. Finally, so this is something that a lot of artists like to do and put in their painting, is to add white gouache for the like sea bit, like the foam, waves. That's what I mean, waves, wavy bit. So I have a white gouache here. This is my Holbein gouache. And I must say, it is so empty. It's totally empty. But I'm going to see if I can squeeze out just a tiniest bit of gouache. I have purchased some. Oh God, it's not coming out. All right. Gouache not coming out, so we need to scrap the gouache idea. Now, if you have white gouache, you can put it all around here. But what I'm going to do, actually, I don't have white gouache. I'm going to go and grab my find what other supplies do you have that you can create some white. And I know I have my Neo Color Tools. So Neo Color Tools are these pastels, or rather like water-soluble pastels. And I know this white is quite good. So I'm just gonna go in. I'm just gonna scrub a bit of that white into just the shoreline here, and just a little bit here, and maybe just some out here. And possibly would have been better if I waited for this bit to dry, but it's fine. Just a little bit of white. And I might put some of that white into my clouds as well, to just get it a little bit more white. And then I think this is it. I'm just gonna call it complete. If you enjoyed this YouTube tutorial, you might enjoy this one that I've done on my Patreon this week. It's an extended version of my little landscape tutorial. So join my Patreon. From just $5 a month, you get access to so many more tutorials that I don't have here on my YouTube. Check it out. And there you have it. I hope you liked this tutorial. Please subscribe to my channel, check out my Patreon, sign up to my mailing list. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.